Hi Mathsy folks, welcome back to Mr. Hanna's Maths Method videos. We're looking at linear equations, and this video looks at linear graphs in particular, and we're going to be doing two things. First, we're going to be sketching a linear graph from an equation, and then we're going to do the opposite to that. We're going to find the equation if we already have the graph. Alright, so let's start off with being able to sketch a graph from an equation. And my question to you is, how many dots do you need to be able to draw an exact straight line? Is it one? Well, let's see. If I put one dot here, I can draw a straight line, sure. But hang on, what about this second straight line? Could go through the dot as well. So we must need more than one dot. Let's try two dots. If I have two dots here, and I put a line through them, yep. That's the only straight line that will cut through those two dots. And if I had three dots, well, it would just go on the line, but I wouldn't get any extra information than if I just had two. So the message here is you only need 2 points. Only need 2 points. So all you need to do to sketch a linear graph is find any two random coordinates and then just put your line through it. So, sketching graphs. So for linear graphs, the key is find 2 points. Find 2 points and then draw the line. Find 2 points, draw the line. And it doesn't matter which 2 points you find, because any 2 points will give you the exact line. Now, my big tip to you is use the axis intercepts. Okay, and the reason we use the axis intercepts is because once we've drawn our graph, you need to write the axis intercepts in it anyway, because that's part of sketching a graph, is always writing the intercepts. So we're going to use the axis intercepts. So let me actually start off with an example. Okay, so let's say that we have y equals 4x minus 2. Okay, 4x minus 2. So let's draw a set of axes which we're going to be plotting our graph on. Here's x. Make sure we label the axes, x and y. Okay, so we want to find 2 points. And we want to use the axis intercept. So at some point, it's going to cut through y. And what I notice about the y-axis intercept is that it's, as the x-coordinate is always 0 for the y-axis. So for the y-intercept, x equals 0. So we'll put a 0 in for x, and we'll get out the y-intercept. So let's check that out. Y equals 4 times 0 minus 2. So y equals 4 zeros is 0 minus 2. Okay, so the y-axis intercept is minus 2. We can put that in. Minus 2. There we go. It cuts through there. And similarly, for the x-axis, the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. So no matter where it is on this x-axis, y is always at 0 there. So we'll put 0 in for y, and we'll see what we get for x. Okay, add 2 to both sides, gives 2 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4. X is 2 on 4, which is the same as a half. So the x-axis intercept is 1/2. So sketch that in. 1/2. So there are our 2 points, and now we just have to draw a nice straight line through them. This bit's best done with a ruler. Okay, there we go. So there is a final finished graph. Obviously a ruler would make that look much nicer. So there it is, and we can label that graph as well with its equation, 4x minus 2. There we go. So we've labeled both the axis intercepts, so we're fully done, and that's excellent. So here's some key points to remember. To find the y-axis intercept, x is 0. To find the x-intercept, y is 0. If we find those 2 points, we can just sketch our graph straight away. Nice and easy. So let me do one more. So let's do one that looks a bit weird, like this. 2y minus 3x equals 5. So usually you'd want to rearrange this if you wanted to find the gradient, but we're not looking for the gradient. We're just looking for the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So first let's find the y-intercept. So we set x to equal 0. 2y minus 3 times 0, so this bit's actually all 0, equals 5. 2y equals 5, so y must be 5 on 2. Now let's find the x-intercept. So we set y to be 0, so we have 2 times 0 minus 3x equals 5. The 2 times 0 cancels out, so we've left with minus 3x equals 5. So x must be minus 5 on 3. There we're done. We've got 2 points, minus 5 on 3 and 5 on 2. So we're ready to sketch this one up. So x is minus 5 on 3. Y is 5 on 2. And we can sketch that graph. Using a ruler, of course, exactly like I'm not. Okay, cool. So that's part 1 done. Okay, we have figured out how we can always sketch a graph if we're given an equation. Next up is the opposite thing, finding the equation if we're given a graph. Okay, so finding the equation from a graph. From a graph. Alright, well let's just draw a graph in to give us a bit of a start, and I'll do a pretty random sort of one. So maybe let's look at it like this. This point here can be 3, 4, and there's another point here of minus 2, 1. There we go, and we have to find the equation for this graph. Now, when finding the equation, there's just a 2-step process. Okay, so first, find the gradient. And then put that into our y equals mx plus c thing. And then step 2, substitute in a point. And I'll get to that when it comes up. Okay, so once we've done those 2 things, we've found the answer. So I guess step 3 could be write the answer. Write the answer. Okay, so there's all we need to do. We need to find the gradient, sub in a point, and write the answer. So let's do those things. Let's start with step 1, the gradient. Now we know that it is rise over run from previously, which is our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to choose this here as my y2, x2, y2 point, just so you know. Alright, so y2 is 4 minus 1 and 3 minus negative 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 take away negative 2 is 5. So there we go. Gradient is 3 over 5. So far we've got y equals 3 over 5 x plus c. Okay, so that's step 1 done. We have completed step 1. We're up to step 2 now, which is sub in a point. So what that means is choose a point. Let's choose any of the points. Let's choose this one, because we could have chosen any, so we'll choose that, where x and y here are minus 2 and 1. So we sub in that point. So instead of y, I've got 1, because I'm subbing the point in. So let's write that down. 1, 3 on 5. Now instead of x, I've got minus 2 plus c. So you notice here, I've only got one unknown. I've got the c. So if I solve this, I'm going to find out what c is. Now 3 on 5 times minus 2 is negative 6 on 5 plus c. And now I've got to add 6 on 5 to both sides. So that's 1 plus 6 on 5 equals c. So I've got to do some fraction stuff here. 1 is actually 5 over 5 plus 6 over 5 equals c. Running out of space. So that's 11 over 5 is c. So we love fractions, so this is no problem for us. Okay, so we've subbed in a point and found c. Now we're up to writing the answer. So we have y equals, so from here, we have y equals 3 on 5 x plus 11 on 5. And there we go, we're totally done. We've fully written that answer down. And in this particular example, we've got some weird results that are fractions, but that's totally fine. Okay, let's just do one more example of this using those 3 steps, just so you're feeling a bit more confident. Okay, so let's call this example 2. And let's draw a graph that we want to figure out the equation for. Alright, so this one I'll make a bit easier. We'll get the actual intercepts here. So here we'll have a that intercept that can be a minus 2. This intercept can be a minus 3. Okay, not actually make it minus 4. Not to scale, but that's fine. Okay, so step 1 was find the gradient. So let's do that. Gradient is going to be equal to, well, the rise, I can see that it goes down. This is a bit of a shortcut method. It goes down to minus 4. So the rise is obviously going to be minus 4. And the run is 2. So our gradient is minus 2. And you see that's negative because it's a downhill gradient. So there's a quick way to check to see if you've stuffed something up. Okay, so let me write my equation. Y equals minus 2x plus c. Now I need to sub in a point. I'm going to choose, doesn't really matter which point I choose, so I'm going to choose this one here, which is minus 2, 0. Let's put that in. 0 equals minus 2 times minus 2 plus c. 0 equals minus 2 times minus 2 is a plus 4. So c, take a 4 away from both sides, c is minus 4. And that's really obvious because we already know our y-intercept is minus 4. So our c, where is it? This c is also our y-intercept, so that makes perfect sense. So step 3, write our equation. Y equals minus 2x minus 4. And we are totally done. So there you go. I hope you can now both sketch graphs and also figure out the equations to graphs. See you next time.